Hi, we are on day 4 of week 27 of the spiritual exercises of Ignatius. And I'm Carolyn Weaver, by the way, of Body and Soul Companion. I set up for you already this week what the upper room, we're still in the upper room looking at things. And this is the 4th day of this, but I'll just briefly remind you, and if this is a standalone meditation that you're doing, I'll briefly remind you that they're in that upper room of that wealthy household, probably nice furnishings, a U-shaped table. There were servants. You could be, if you want to imagine yourself as one of the servants in the room, or you could imagine yourself as one of the disciples. At this point, Judas has already left. That was yesterday. Jesus identifies his betrayer, and he also predicted Peter's denials, but this is at the end and conclusion of the meal. And also just the surroundings. There's the lamb and the 4 cups of wine and the unleavened bread, the herbs. But this is the conclusion of the meal, so a lot of that has been eaten, but there's still the bread and the wine, and that's what we're going to talk about today. This is what we do when we do communion. We commemorate this in communion. This is only a few verses today because I am going to do what's called the Last Supper Examen. It's from a podcast called God in All Things, and I will give you the link to the actual podcast because there's sound effects, so you might like to do it with them. I'm just going to read it. I don't have sound effects. So I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Be still and know that I am God. You are in the presence of God. You can let go and relax physically, emotionally, and mentally. I'll give you a few minutes to do that, or a few moments to do that. Receive God's loving gaze on you as we prepare with our preparatory prayer and our desire. Lord, we pray that more of our day would be directed to your service and praise, and we seek the grace to feel sorrow with Jesus in his sorrow in the Last Supper. This is Matthew 26 through 29. And while they were eating, Jesus took some bread, and after a blessing, he broke it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And when he had taken a cup and given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So imagine yourself as a servant or one of the disciples. I would suggest being a disciple. You're still reclining at the table. It's toward the end of the meal. There were 4 cups of wine. And there was still the unleavened bread on the table. So Jesus, see him take the bread and blessing the bread. See him break it. Hear the snap of the unleavened bread. Flat, no yeast bread. See him give it to the disciples, one by one. And hear him say, take, eat, this is my body. And can you take the bread, the unleavened bread, and eat it? What are you feeling right now? What do you taste? And then what do you feel? Him saying, this is my body. Feel the bread in your mouth and swallow it. And then see him take the cup and say the Passover, blessed art thou, Lord our God. And bless the fruit of the vine. He's thanking God. And then see him give the cup. Drink from it, all of you. For this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And drink. I'm taking a cup. It's not a wine cup. Here's an official Jewish cup. I'll take that. And you take the cup and you drink. How does it feel to drink? How do you feel having Jesus say, this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. How does that make you feel to hear him say that? So now we're going to switch gears, and I'm going to do that meditation. And it's a meditation by Henri Nouwen from the book Life of the Beloved. Jesus took, blessed, broke, and gave the bread to the disciples. So contemplate each of these words. taking the bread, see Jesus take the bread, and ask yourself the question, how have I been taken? Henri Nouwen suggests a better word would be chosen. How have I been chosen, taken out? As children of God, we are God's chosen ones. Recall in your mind how God chose you to be His own, how He took you out of bondage into freedom. Recall how He took you in your mind's eye, going back to your blessed history. And see the scene, hear, touch, taste, smell that scene where He took you. He chose you to be His own. Remember that. And how do you feel remembering that? Now Jesus blesses the bread. See Him bless. Take the bread and bless it. And now think about how you have been blessed in your life through the years. Feel free to turn off the video at this point so you can really have a long look at your blessed history, what you did for the first 2 weeks of the exercises. Just touch points of blessings in your life. Think back. And a lot of times those blessings are connected with joy. So what are some joyful memories? From your most recent to all the way back to your childhood. And please feel free to turn off the video. And when you have those memories, relive them. So turn off the video. But we're going to go on. Now I want you to listen to God's voice speaking blessing over you right now. His blessing and truth over you. What does He want to say to you? And feel free to turn off the video and take as much time as you need. So now we'll go on. He took the bread and He broke it. He blessed it and then He broke it. So how have I been broken? Again, review your history and contemplate your times of brokenness. Have you faced the pain of your brokenness rather than ignored it or repressed it? And was there joy after the sorrow? So think of some times of brokenness and turn off the video if you need that time. was the joy after the sorrow. Think about that. Weeping may last for a night, but there's a shout of joy in the morning. Don't be afraid to grieve and lament. Maybe the joy hasn't come yet. Talk to God about that. And then he broke the bread, and then he gave the bread to the disciples. How have you given? How has your brokenness led to you giving? And how do you give today? Out of both your blessedness and brokenness that leads to blessedness. And Henri Nouwen says, more surely than ever before, I know now that we are called to give our very lives to one another, and that in so doing, we become a true community of love. Again, from the book Life of the Beloved. So, with all of that, if you need more time, just to review how you've been taken, chosen, how you've been blessed in your life history, how you've been broken, and how you have given. Have a continued conversation with Jesus about that. Be blessed.